Do you want me to bring you? Oh my goodness! Thank you. I didn't mean for this to be kiss time. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, I have to keep talking about my sweaters. Why don't you sit here? Great. Good idea. Hello. Welcome. This is Gently Chaotic Knits, kind of. It's not a usual podcast episode, but it is a little bit different, and I'm really excited. I think this is going to be a really fun one. As I was preparing for this morning, I was just getting really excited about everything. Okay, I need to back up. This is Gently Chaotic Knits, which is normally a video podcast that is mostly about knitting. So I normally go through like every couple of weeks and I talk about all the stuff I've been working on, the things that I have finished, and what I want to knit next, and all the yarn I've purchased and that kind of stuff. If you are new, I would recommend maybe if you're into that kind of thing, you can check out the other videos. I also, around this time of year, it is, wow, I feel like I am already all over the place. It is Tuesday, December 20th, 2022, and I have also been around this time doing weekly vlog videos a la Vlogmas. Not daily, because that is a lot of editing and posting and everything, but I've been doing weekly vlogs as well. So those are my two kind of standard. I do Vlogmas sometimes, like vlog style videos, mostly the knitting podcast, video podcast videos. But today is something really special, and I'm also remembering that I didn't tell you who I am. Also, if you're new, this is the kind of energy that I almost always have. That is why the podcast is called Gently Chaotic Knits. It's because we're gentle, we're kind here, but also a little bit all over the place. And that's just the energy that that I have when I'm here and I'm talking about my knitting. So, my name is Emily, and I live in Seattle, Washington with my husband Nafis and our pup Norman, who often will come and hang out. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much. Thank you for putting up with this wildness and for returning, and I can't wait to go through. I have not yet said what I'm going to be doing today in this video, which is I'm going to go through all the garments that I knit in 2022. So today is December 20th. I have 10 days left, or 11 days left, so I may finish. I'm hoping I'll finish one more, but I'm about to travel for the holidays, so I wanted to go ahead and just sit down now and go through everything all the garments I've knit up to this point. I've got some fun stats to talk about. I've got some superlatives. If you all remember that from like a high school yearbook, like my most worn sweater, my favorite to knit, the one I want to make again, those kinds of things. So I'll do those at the end as well. And yeah, I'm just excited to go through and reflect on the garments that I knit. I am also probably going to do a looking forward to 2023 video. I'll probably do that in January. So my plan is to go through a lot of the yarn I have in stash, a lot of the plans I have, and talk about what my general goals are going to be for the year, and also some sweaters that I already know I want to make. So that I will likely do in early 2023, but now let's reflect on the year we just had. So all the stuff I made this year, and I'm really excited about it. I feel like it was a really great year of knitting for me. I had a lot of changes personally in my life this year, which I won't go into in super detail, but in around March or April, I left. I had a full-time job as an analyst for the Seattle Mariners, and I left that job after being there for about 4 years. Because it just wasn't the right fit for me anymore. And after that, I invested a lot of my time and energy into knitting, crafting, designing. I published 4 knitwear patterns this year, and I also started working at a yarn store, Suri, on Bainbridge Island in Washington, and got to do some really exciting and fun stuff there. So it's been a really big year of change for me. And I'm really excited about the year that I just had, and I'm excited for the year that will come next. So I'm just feeling really good about my crafting and my knitting. I think one other thing before I get into all the sweaters is just I think this year I did a lot better of a job of just like following the knitting that was making me happy and like following my joy. And rather than trying to force myself to meet deadlines that I had set for myself or work on things that I wasn't loving anymore, I think I did a much better job of like only knitting things that I was really loving in that moment. And I think it made for a really fun year of knitting. And it also made for this lovely stack of sweaters. I have 2 stacks of sweaters. So I'll give you all a little bit of like a teaser. I'll hold up the stacks before we go into them in order. So this is first stack, and this is my second stack. And this is all stuff that I knit this year. I can't believe it. Maybe I should hold them all up at once. Can I even do that? Did I knit more than an armful of sweaters? They're not all sweaters. Some of them are like tees and tanks, but this is the sweaters from this year. Here's my face. I can't believe it. Let's go through them. Okay, so I've got them ordered. I have notes, so I'm going to try to remember to say like all the information about everyone. There's some stuff that like I was realizing this morning when I was putting this together that I did not take note of. So that's a goal for 2023, is to do a better job of taking my notes and listing everything on Ravelry. But I'm going to try to tell you everything. I may not remember exactly like what size I knit. I may not remember like the needle size that I used. So I'm going to do my best. I have all my Ravelry pages open, and so any information that I have, I will include. But before we get started, let me just tell you generally, we'll do like a quick overview. The total number of garments I knit is, in 2022, is 13. So I knit 13 garments this year. There's kind of an asterisk there because I did knit a complete sweater and then rip it out and then reknit part of it. So like I'm counting that all as one. But yeah, I knit 13 garments. 12 of them were for myself. 1 of them was for someone else. It was for my dad. And so I don't have that one physically with me either. My dad has that one. So this wasn't even all of the stuff I knit this year. I have one with my dad. I also tracked my yardage this year. I did a much better job of that earlier in the year than I did later in the year. So this morning I was actually scrambling around trying to weigh all my sweaters and everything. So my total yardage for the year for everything, not just garments, was just under 18,000 yards of yarn. And my garment yardage was 13,409 yards. So actually, you know what I'm very interested in seeing right now is what percentage of my yardage was garments. So I'm going to do that calculation right now. Sorry, I've got my computer right here in front of me. This is probably not the most fun thing. Okay, just around 75%. So almost exactly, just over 75% of my total yardage was garments. So that's pretty cool. I would characterize myself as a garment knitter. I think I enjoy knitting garments the most, and that's clearly what I spent most of my time doing. So that's kind of an overview. So let's get into it. Let's go through all the sweaters, all the garments that I knit this year. First, I'll tell you what I'm wearing. This is not a sweater that I knit this year. This is the Clove by Rachel Kurihara. This is one of my very favorite sweaters. I think it's my favorite kind of just like toss-on sweater that I wear all the time in the fall and winter. I knit this using Grenouille Tweed DK in the colorway Lampblack. And I don't remember what size I knit, but it is the Clove. And it's just a really nice like basic drop shoulder. I'm already thinking about if I want to knit another one of these. I feel like it would be really good to do one in like a fluffy yarn, like a mohair or a Suri silk. I think would be really fun as well. And yeah, I really love this one. So that's what I'm wearing today. I am going to try to each sweater that I talk about, I'm going to try to like try it on as well. So we'll see. There may be lots of cuts and everything, but we're going to do our best. So that's what I'm wearing. let's get into the things I knit this year. So I'm going to go through, I have my Ravelry page open for each one. The first sweater that so this is also, I'll say these are sweaters that I finished, or like garments that I finished this year. I think I started this one in January as well. So let me pull this up. Yeah, so I started, this was my first sweater of the year, and this is the September sweater, which is a pattern by Petite Knit. I started it on January 8th, 2022, and I finished it on January 29th. So just about 3 weeks for this one. It was a quick knit. The primary reason is it's a really heavy yarn, so I used Woolberry Fiber Co. Very Natural Worsted in the colorway Mulled Wine. This is actually a collective colorway that my friend Sylvan, who is in the Woolberry Collective, gifted to me. If you all look at this color, you know why she gifted this to me. It is very much my color. It is like my very favorite perfect dark red. I love it. Let's see, what size did I knit? I don't have written down what size I knit, so I don't know what size I knit. Couple of issues with this. This is not a sweater that I have worn very much. I've only worn it a couple of times. Let me pause here and put the sweater on so that you guys can see it. I guess I don't really need to pause because I have a tank on underneath. I forgot that, so I'm not going to cut. You guys can just see my arms. But here it is. Each time I wear it, I like it a little bit more. It is really cozy. It's nice and oversized. The issues that I have with it, one, this is not a size inclusive pattern. So that is something that, to be completely honest with you, and like you'll notice this as I go through my patterns, my garments that I knit this year, but I did not do a great job of noticing that, recognizing that earlier in the year. And I've done a much better job later in the year of making sure that my pattern purchases and my time and my attention goes to patterns that are more size inclusive. So this is not one. So that's one thing to note. The other thing is I knit this out of a I thought this was a superwash yarn because of how much it stretched, and I just had in my head that it was a superwash yarn, but I have written that it's very natural worsted, which I think is a non-superwash yarn. Maybe I have it in my Ravelry wrong. I'm pretty sure based on like, I was almost positive this was a superwash yarn. Anyway, what ended up happening is I knit this way too long. I like my sweaters to be pretty cropped. Not like so cropped that like you can see my belly, but I wear high-waisted pants, so I can show you all I'm wearing high-waisted jeans today, and this is just way too long. Like, I don't think this is doing anything for my shape here. I think it looks like the way that the hem is, it just kind of like balloons out right here, which is where I don't want it to do that. I just don't love it. So what I really would like to do is honestly rip out like 5 inches. Like, I want it to be like this length. I think I would get a lot more wear out of it if it was like this length. I have tried wearing it and just like tucking it in, but it's like too much to tuck in at the bottom. So that's the primary reason I haven't worn this. This was my first finished sweater of the year, and I have been telling myself since I finished it that I need to rip it out and shorten it, and I just have not done that yet. So hopefully that's something I can do in 2023. It does have I did do a sewn bind off, a sewn tubular bind off for this sweater, so I would have to unpick that. I might honestly, since I don't need the yarn, I might just cut it because I don't need the yarn because it's too long, not too short. So I think the sleeves turned out like a decent length, and I'm pretty happy with that. But yeah, I think based on my taste, it's just too long. But I like the nice, cozy, oversized fit. It's really, really squishy, and I really just need to cut out the bottom and like shorten it so that I'll wear it more. But yeah, that was garment number 1. Let's do garment, I guess I already started. taking this off. I'll hold up the next one and talk about it, and then I'll put it on. My next finished sweater of 2022, I have to open the page, is the Marble Mount by Locatelli. A big reason why I knit this sweater, to be honest with you, is because toward the end of 2021, I actually met Hohi on a hiking trail in the North Cascades, and the area that we stayed in was Marble Mount, Washington, which was like close to the North Cascades, and I saw her, like we met on a hiking trail, chatted, she was incredibly nice, like so kind, her family was great, it was really incredible to meet her, but she was working on this sweater design when I met her, and she named it Marble Mount, which is based off the area that we were when we met. So I was like, I have to knit this sweater. And I really like it. So Marble Mount is a top-down, oh, I didn't say for this one, I didn't say anything about the construction. It's a drop shoulder, it's top-down. This one. You like knit the back, and then you pick up on the shoulders, and then y'all get the point. Really nice fold-over collar as well, which is one of my very favorite things. I love a fold-over collar. Okay, Marble Mount, back to Marble Mount. This one is a top-down circular yoke. I was really hesitant about a top-down circular yoke because my only top-down circular yoke I had knit before this one did not fit me super well. I didn't knit it in 2022. I knit it in 2021, or maybe even 2020. And it did not fit me super well, so I was really nervous, but I had other reasons why I was really excited about knitting this pattern, so I decided to go ahead and go for it. So this one fits me beautifully, and let me put it on so I can show you guys what it looks like. I'm looking at my Ravelry page here. It looks like I knit the size 3 for this one, and I used Grenouille in her sock single ply base in the colorway Three Sisters, and I really love this color. Sorry, I can't see myself super well. Yeah, I think this sweater fits me beautifully. I think it fits me super well. This sweater gave me confidence that a circular yoke can actually fit me, that there is a chance that I can knit a circular yoke and like it. This is all because of this sweater. It has a beautiful lace detail, and then it has these really fun, like, you do ribbing on the edging, and then you do like a little rolled edge, and there's like a rolled edge on the top. I actually really like a rolled edge as well. But I love this sweater. I should have worn it more this year. I've worn it several times. Like, I've definitely worn it. I think for me, this is like right on the line for being a touch too variegated of a yarn for a garment for me. I do tend, and you'll see it in the rest of my sweaters, I really like solids and semi-solids for garments. So this one is just like a touch too variegated. So I think it would be more wearable for me if I had knit it in a more solid color, but I'm still really happy with it. It looks like I used a US size 3 needle, so seems like it would be a labor of love, although it looks like I cruised through this. It took me just about a month, started January 25th and completed February 28th. So almost exactly a month to knit this, and I remember really enjoying the process also. I think this yarn was really soft and nice to work with. It is already starting to pill a little bit, but I'm not surprised since it's a single ply yarn. Like, that is on me for making that decision. But yeah, I really love this one and would knit again. I've even considered, because I know that the yoke fits me super well, I have also considered knitting one without the lace and just doing like a plain basic circular yoke, but using the increases from this one as like a template for a more basic sweater. So that is Marble Mount. That was my second garment of 2022. Let me open up my third one. Is the Cumulus Blouse by Petite Knit. This one, I feel like when I knit this, it was really having a moment. I feel like a lot of people were knitting Cumulus blouses, and I feel like that has continued. I Another disclaimer about this one, this is another petite knit pattern that I don't believe is size inclusive either. So just want to make sure that I mention that as well. I started this one on March 3rd and I finished it on April 6th. Is that right? I thought it took me longer than that. I guess it was a pretty quick knit. I was knitting this one for the most part when I was in Arizona for spring training, when I still worked with the Mariners. It was actually my last few weeks with the Mariners I spent in Arizona for the Mariners spring training, and this is the project I had with me during that time. It was a really nice, cozy, comforting knit to have during that time. I knit it using Explorer Knits Suri Alpaca lace in the linen colorway, held double. So it is so, like, I wish you all could feel how soft this is. It feels, sorry, I have to click the screen back on myself. It feels like a cloud. It feels like a dream. It is so squishy. It's so soft. This sweater alone makes me want to knit more things out of Suri because it's so soft. I love it so much. I knit the size 1, so I believe this is the smallest size. I don't think I got gauge perfectly. I don't remember what needle size I used, so I wouldn't necessarily use this as a template for you all if you are wanting to knit it because I think my gauge was off, but let me try it on for you. This one, honestly, I have not worn a ton, and I think the big reason for that is I honestly don't wear V-necks super often. I don't know if it's just like a comfort thing for me, but I just don't wear V-necks super often, and I'll sometimes wear it with like a collared shirt or something underneath. I wore it the other day with like a lacy kind of bralette that went up a little higher underneath. Honestly, I could wear it on top of something like this. Like, I feel like this looks fine. It is so soft. The sleeves are like I don't even want to say this, but I feel like they're a touch too long. I really like my sleeves to be like above the wrist, and I wish that these ones ended up like maybe here rather than down here. I know that's wild. I know people are going to watch this and be like, you're crazy. But I do wish that the sleeves were a touch shorter. I think also when I wear it and I'm like have my hands down, and after I wear it for a while it stretches a little bit, I think the sleeves are just a hair too long. The body, I think, is a decent length. It's a good length for like tucking and wearing like that. And it does have quite a bit of positive ease as well. Again, I don't think that I got gauge properly, so I knit the smallest size probably to give me the amount of ease that I wanted. It maybe is even like a touch more ease than I might have wanted, but that's okay. But yeah, that's Cumulus Blouse. I really do love the way this one feels. Like, that is the star of this garment, is just like that. It feels incredible. So that's Cumulus Blouse. That is garment number 3. And did I say the dates that I knit that? I think I did. Yeah, March 3rd to April 6th. I really thought this one took longer. Okay, next one is, this one is called Eila. I believe is how you pronounce it, E-I-L-A. It is also a fluffy, fuzzy sweater. I love this one. This one, if you all remember, if you've watched the podcast before, Nafis, my husband, he, for a while, was giving names to my sweaters, just giving them, like, what they made him think of. He did that more last year, but the one he did give a name this year is this one, and he called it my Sweaty Skittle sweater. So that's all I can think of every time I see and wear this sweater is Sweaty Skittle sweater. The reason he gave it that name is because he said that the like light color stripes in it remind him of when you have like Skittles on a sweaty hand, and you like take them off and you can see like the colored marks that they leave on your hand. I don't know if this is a universal experience, if anyone else knows what I'm talking about, but he said that this sweater reminded him of that. I cast this one on April 11th, and I found off on May 7th, so just under a month. It was pretty quick. I really enjoyed knitting this one in the spring because the colors very much made me feel like spring. The pattern is, again, I think I said it's Eila, which is from the Pom Pom Ready Set Raglan book. Let me click back so I can see myself. It's from the Pom Pom Ready Set Raglan book. And I knit this using a variety of yarns. I used, for the main color, I used Grenouille Co. Pink Moonstone. And then all the contrasting stripes are colors from the Grenouille 2020 Advent. So I had used a lot of the darker colors in a shawl that I knit last year. And I pulled out all the lighter colors. I don't remember how many colors I used in this. I think like 7 maybe. I pulled out all the lighter colors to go with the Pink Moonstone and alternate stripes. So I did, I don't know if you can see this super well, but I did like 2 rows of the main color, which is like the light pink, and then 2 rows of a contrasting color, and then 2 rows main, and then 2 rows of a different contrast color, and alternated that way. A really similar striping pattern to the stripy turtle tank. If you all are familiar, that is my design, my first design I published last year. And then along with that was a fingering weight yarn, the Advent yarn, as well as the Pink Moonstone. And along with it, I held a strand of Stress Knits Suri. I think she calls the base Cloud, Stress Knits Cloud, and the colorway for that, I believe, is Palm Lines, which is her like really nice faint pink. So I held that together with the strand of fingering weight, and it made this beauty. Let me put it on so you all can see it. I think it fits super well. It is definitely like a kind of like a lower raglan, a deeper raglan, which I think fits me really well. The neck is a touch wide, and I'll tell you, I don't think that I did it exactly to pattern. It is a roll, like a fold over neck, but I did not want to pick up stitches around the neckline, so what I did actually is I did a provisional cast on, and then I knit the collar like twice as long as I wanted it, and then I folded it over and I knit my cast on stitches with my live stitches together to kind of fold it over, and then I just continued with the raglan. And that gave it like not a ton of structure here. I think if you had done what the pattern called for, which was to just cast on here, knit the raglan, and then later go on and pick up stitches around the neckline and then knit your collar and fold it over, then you'd have more structure here and it would probably stay in a little bit tighter. So mine is a little bit more relaxed at the top, but I am okay with that. I think the fit is really good. I will scoot up again. I think the length is really perfect. I think it tucks in nicely if I want to wear it like that. If not, totally fine. I think the raglan depth is really nice. The sleeve length is great. This one is great fitting. And I have written here that I knit size 1. This is another one where I think my gauge was slightly off. So I do believe that I made an adjustment and decided to knit size 1 to get the amount of ease that I wanted, even though my gauge was like a little bit off. So that is Eila, or Sweaty Skittle Sweater. Okay, next up is, actually my camera is about to cut me off, so I'm going to just go ahead and restart. Okay, next up is one of my very favorite knits from this year. It may be my favorite knit from the year, and I think you all loved it too. I love this one. It is my Birch Pullover. Birch by Andrea Mowry. This sweater is like my perfect sweater. I love this sweater so much. I wore it so much. I like, the color is perfect, the fit I love, everything about it is perfect. And I don't even know how it turned out that way, because I feel like, I don't know, it was risky business when I did this one. But let me tell you all about it. So this is the Birch Pullover by Andrea Mowry. It is a top-down raglan in half fisherman's rib. So if you're unfamiliar, half fisherman's rib is the one where like it's kind of, finished fabric is really similar to brioche. It's kind of like brioche, only on one side though. It's like half brioche. And instead of doing like the little yarn overs as you knit in half fisherman, you just grab the stitch below on your knits in like every other row. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but it was definitely a labor of love. That is for sure, because every other row for a half fisherman's rib in the round, you have to purl the whole row. So definitely a labor of love. I am astounded with how quickly I knit this. I have here that I cast it on April, actually, oh no, sorry, I'm not astounded. I was kind of slow at this. I have that I cast on April 6th and I finished it June 5th. So 2 months, which I think makes sense. I was working on this one and the Eila roughly the same time. I think I cast this one on around the same time. And then I got excited about Eila, so I kind of knit Eila and then I came back to Birch. So as far as like actual focused knitting time, I'm not sure how much I actually spent on it because I was knitting this sweater for a while. But, and honestly, like for a sport weight half fisherman rib on a US size 4 needle, I am pretty impressed that I knit this as quickly as I did. Like, I think after I was looking back at this, I was like, man, Emily, your knitting mojo in the spring and summer was like very high. Like, I knit a lot in the spring and summer. Okay, what else can I tell you about this? So the pattern, there are some adjustments here. Actually, I didn't really adjust the pattern, but this is another one where my gauge was definitely off, and I knew that going in. The pattern calls for fingering weight yarn, and I believe a US size 3 needle, but I was unwilling to do that. I also had in my head that I really wanted to use this yarn. So this yarn is Autumn and Indigo Classic Sport in the colorway Lomah. Unfortunately, I do not think that she dyes this yarn anymore. I don't even know if she carries this base anymore, which I'm really sad about because I love this color and I love this yarn, and I would probably knit more things out of this color and maybe even this exact yarn again. I'm a huge sport weight fan. I think it's the perfect weight to work with. It's not too light, but not too heavy. I really loved this sweater. But anyway, I gauge swatched, and of course, like, because I was using sport weight yarn and I was unwilling to use a US size 3 needle, my gauge was going to be pretty off. So I made a little bit of an adjustment. I believe I may have cast on fewer stitches around the neck, and I also think that I didn't do the raglans quite as deep because I knew that my gauge was off, but I also, like, to get the ease I wanted, I should have, if I got gauge, I should have knit a size 2, and so I just knit a size 1 instead. But even then, it still ended up with, like, a lot more ease than the pattern, like, recommended. And I'm okay with that because I actually really love the way that this fits. So let me put it on so you all can see. If you look at Andrea Mowry's photos of it, it's much closer fitting, closer up on the neck, and less ease in the body as well. But mine is a much more relaxed fit. And you can see that here, like, definitely more relaxed fit, but even just putting this on, I am obsessed with this sweater. I am so in love with this sweater. I want to wear it every single day. I feel like it fits me beautifully. I think there is quite a bit of positive ease, but I'm okay with that. I think the drape of this garment is stunning. I think the sleeve length, the body length, perfect. Like, I love this. I think it tucks well. I think I can wear it untucked well. I wear this sweater with everything. I actually did, this is one of my most favorite finished object photo shoots I've ever done as well. I took this sweater to Lake Washington, which is like pretty close to where we live, a like 2-minute drive. I drove over, and we have some really beautiful fishing docks really close to where we live. And I took this sweater and I took like 4 or 5 different outfits, and I just went and I just took pictures and videos of myself wearing this sweater in a whole bunch of different outfits, and I just love it. I love it. I love it. I could not love this sweater more. Honestly, like, I tend to like, I mentioned before with Eila, I tend to like a sweater that's a little bit closer in the neck, but this one, honestly, like, I really like the way that the neck fits. The only thing is, like, when I do wear a shirt underneath it, you can see it on the sides a little bit, but that's fine. I love to wear this over dresses. I love to wear this with my overalls. I love to wear it, of course, just like with a pair of jeans. I wore this all summer. I took it everywhere with me, and just like as a light layer that I wore, like threw on top of tanks and t-shirts when it would get chilly in the evenings. This sweater is, yeah, it's amazing. It's definitely one of my favorite things that I knit this year, and I will wear it for the rest of my life until I wear holes into it. Like, I am obsessed with this sweater. So, would highly recommend. Definitely is a labor of love, but I love it. Could not love it more. Like, this is amazing. Okay, I should probably stop talking about just this one sweater and continue. My next garment of the year is also one of my very favorites, and is a design of mine. So, also in the spring summer, I knit this, which is Slanty stripes. It is a tank or a vest or however you want to wear it. This is my original sample that I knit for, like, when I was writing the pattern, and then I wrote the pattern, and I did actually, I'll show you all later, I did knit another one without the stripes. This construction of this is actually, you have to do the front and the back flat. You can't do any of it in the round because the stripes include these really cute little intarsia color changes, and since it's intarsia, you got to do it flat. I knit this one really quick as well. I think at least like a lot of it I did really quickly, as I was really excited about the stripes, and it's so easy when you're doing, I love stripes. You'll probably know that about me, but like as you're going, it's like, oh, I just want to get to the next stripe, and I really enjoyed this. I knit this June 1st to June 28th of 2022. The yarn I used is just a variety of Woolberry Fiberco colors. The main color is mine, and then the contrast color, I believe the main color I knit using Berry Cashmere. And then the others are a variety of like Berry Sock and Berry Cashmere. The dark blue is actually from like an 8-day advent I think I got from them last year. I think it's called Night Swim. I have, oh, I don't think I told you for this one, the colorway is Lomah. Did I say that? For the Birch, the colorway is Lomah. But hopefully I put that on the screen and you all saw it. Okay, I have Night Swim. The yellow is Marigold, I think. The gray is Escape. The blue is Puget Sound. The reddish brown is Moab. And I think that's all of them. Love these colors. This is like my perfect palette. I love it. I really love this tank. I wore it a ton in the summer. I also love to wear it as a vest. I'm already thinking that I'll probably wear it to work tomorrow because I think it would be really cute on top of a turtleneck for like a winter vibe. I really, really love this project. I know the colors aren't super wintry, but it's really, I don't know, it's really cute as a vest. Like, I really like it as a vest. Okay, let me click back to myself. I'm sorry, I'm going forward and clicking so much. It looks weird on top of the shirt that I have on right now. But it is more of like a relaxed boxy fit. I have about 7 inches of positive ease. And I really like that. I think the relaxed fit makes it really easy to wear on top of stuff. I also think it's great to layer. So I wore this a ton like with a jean jacket on top, or I wear it with another sweater on top or whatever. But I love it. And this is also one of my most favorite knits from this year. If you are interested in knitting this, I will also tell you that on my website, gentlychaoticknits.com, my husband built the coolest thing ever, which is a digital coloring page for this pattern. So you can go in and use like a color picker to select your colors, and you can like basically color your garment front and back and just like click which colors you want where. You can move the location of the stripes, like the slanty parts, and click them from left slant to right slant. Like you can do that however you want. It's a really, really fun tool. So if you're interested in that, you should go check out my website, which is linked in the description below, and you should play around because it's really fun. Even if you're not going to knit it, it's really fun to play around with. It's really fun for like color combinations as well. If you're going to knit something else with stripes, would be fun. So slanty stripes, and the pattern is also, I guess I will do a little bit of self-promotion. I try not to do too much, but the pattern is also available. You can find a link to it from that website, or you can go to my Ravelry page and purchase it through Ravelry. So, slanty stripes. Oh, and for this one, I know I knit did I knit the second or the third size? I think I should know this because this is my own pattern, and I can't believe that I don't remember which one I knit. I knit this is the second size. I knit one later, which I'll talk about later, and it's the first size. So this one, second size, gives me roughly 7 inches of positive ease, and then I have a closer fitting one later that I will show you. So this is slanty stripes. Okay, next is, I'll leave this on while I talk about this. Next is Dad's sweater. This one has me so emotional. This was like my biggest project of 2022. This was such a process, and I put so much love and time and effort and energy into this project. So this is actually not the original Dad sweater that I knit. I knit it, and okay, well, let me scoot back. First, let me get my Ravelry page open. Okay, so this project is the Dad sweater pattern is a design by me that I actually published last month. My first sample I knit, I have noted down here, from May 10th to June 30th. So I knit it in the spring, summer. And then there were a couple changes that I wanted to make, and I actually decided that it made the most sense to not to rip out my original one and reknit it, primarily because I did not see the need to have 2 almost identical sweaters, but one I just like more. Like if I was going to make a couple of small changes that resulted in me liking the sweater more, I was like, I need to just rip it out. So, but I had completely finished it. I photographed it, and that's actually what I used for the testing call. And then I made a couple of changes. So I ripped it out, restarted, made some adjustments to the pattern, and then this one, actually, my friend and tech editor Sylvan finished for me. So I did the front and the back, and like joined at the underarm, and I also did the collar, and then my friend Sylvan did the sleeves and finished the body for me because she is truly an angel. So I'm counting this just as one finished sweater, but it's kind of like 2 because I knit a whole one that's not here, and then this is like the second one, but I didn't knit this completely, so 1.5 maybe. Dad sweater, I mentioned, is a pattern by me. The yarn I used is Aimée Corrie worsted. The colorway here is French gray, which is my favorite neutral, cool gray. I think it's perfect. This is so the Dad sweater actually has 2 sizing ranges. It has a standard shoulder and a broad shoulder sizing range. Basically, those just correspond to men's and women's sizing charts. So I knit the standard shoulder, which is like the women's sizing charts, size 2. And this gives me, I think, about 7 or 8 inches of positive ease. I'm just making a pile of sweaters over here. So it does give me some positive ease. This I have talked about many times, so if you want to hear more, you can probably just go back and pick any of my podcast episodes, and I probably was talking about this sweater because I feel like I've been talking about it forever. But this was inspired by these woolly sweaters that my dad wore, and still wears some, but wore more, I think, when I was younger. It's just like a basic men's wool Land's End sweater that has a set in sleeves construction and is super woolly and really nice and like loose fitting with a fold over collar. And when I felt this yarn, the La Bien Aimée Corrie worsted, it really reminded me of those sweaters that my dad wore. And I knew, like, I just felt this intense inspiration to write a pattern and at least knit myself one of my dad's sweater, and then also make it so that other folks can knit them as well. And so I also knit one for my dad, which I'll talk about in a minute because it is a garment that I knit last year, or this year. And it just, like, it makes me so emotional to think about this sweater and the time and energy and love spent with this sweater. And it is truly one of my most favorite knits to this point. I already have plans to make so many more, both for myself and for others. Like, I want to make them for all my family. It's a really relaxing knit, but it's still interesting. It has these beautiful large sleeves, which I personally love the massive sleeves. I think it's really fun and cozy. In my opinion, I really hate, like, I don't want to seem like I'm tooting my own horn here, but in my opinion, it is like the perfect basic sweater. I really love it. So, dad's sweater, this one's really special to me, and I'm planning to knit lots more. And I think I said all the information I need to about it. Okay, what's next? It looks like both my computer and my camera battery are on their last legs, so I may have to... Actually, why don't I just go ahead and take a pause now and plug some stuff in. Okay, I'm back. Because I had to plug my computer in, it's going to be harder for me to look at myself, so hopefully I don't accidentally, like, lose focus or have other issues, but we're just going to do our best. We're over halfway. I'm sorry for how long this is, but hopefully it's somewhat enjoyable for you all to follow through. So I just finished talking about dad's sweater, which still has me feeling all emotional and fuzzy inside. But next is a series of summer tops. So this is definitely my summer, like late summer. I was really feeling the energy for summer tops. I did a lot of like tanks and that kind of thing, and so I have 3 of those up next to share with you all. I still count these as, like, you know, I mean, they're garments, and some of them had like some serious yardage because fingering weight, even in like a t-shirt, can still be a lot of yardage. So I wanted to share them here, but I can go through them a little bit quicker. First one up is the Melides top, which is a pattern by Vert, or Vert. I'm not sure how to say it. It's V-E-R-T. Knit. And I actually test knit this one for Inesh. And she was incredibly kind and great to work with. I really enjoyed the process. And as soon as I saw this, she was like sharing about it online, I was like, I have to knit this. Like, I just really, really loved it. I fell in love with like a lot of the simple details. It is just like a basic tank, but it has a V-neck on one side and a square neck on the other. And honestly, I ended up liking the square neck side a lot more than I thought. Maybe I didn't realize I was like anti-V-neck, but I thought that I would just want to wear it on the V-neck side, but I really liked the square neck side. And I can try it on for you all. The yarn I used is Grenouille. And it's her single ply merino linen base, which I believe is a 90% merino wool and 10% linen. So this is going to look weird on top of my tank, but that's what we have. This one, I think it was more an issue of my own like gauge, but I do have like a little bit of gaping underneath the arms. After talking with Ines, she was incredibly kind about it. When I had like voiced this concern, it seems like it may just be an issue with like my yarn or my gauge or whatever, but I do have like a little bit of kind of like gape here. And I think maybe I could have just knit my eye cords around the armhole a little bit tighter, and that would have resulted in a better fit for me. But I still wore this quite a bit in the summer, really enjoyed it. One thing I will note again here is that this pattern is not fully size inclusive, so something to keep in mind as well. And I talked about this a little bit more when I talked about this on the podcast as well. This is a conversation I had with Ines as well, and she was incredibly kind and thoughtful about it as well. So just wanted to point that out. But yeah, this one I don't think I would wear as much as like a vest. I think it's more just for a tank, and so it doesn't look great, I think, on top of this other shirt. But I really love this yarn and this color. The colorway is Knocked Music, I believe is the name of the color. I also knit this one super fast. I don't remember if I put in my Ravelry page. Yeah, I cast it on July 15th and I bound off on July 21st. So I knit this one in a week, less than a week actually, which makes sense. It's like a tank, but it was a speedy knit for me. And I don't know if you can see it in the dark color as well, but both on the front and back there are these kind of like faux seams under the bust, which I love that detail. I think it's just a really great detail. So this is a really fun one for me, a quick knit. Yeah, that is the Melides top. And, oh, I forgot I was going to leave this on. Well, that's okay. Next up, this one was not my favorite knit of the year. Nothing wrong with the pattern at all, but I had issues with it. This is the Moonset Tee by Ozetta, and I love the pattern, and I am even considering knitting another one. She has a whole series. She has like a Moonset pullover as well that has this similar neckline, and I've knit her other patterns, several of her other patterns as well, and really enjoyed them. And again, I really like this pattern as well, but I think the yarn was just not the right choice for me. Whenever I wore this, I just didn't feel great in it. And I think it's just maybe the color. I think the color is just like not a great color for me. I will put it on so you all can see. And I mean, I would say let me know what you think, but I don't know that I really would like for you to tell me that this isn't my color, because I already feel like I know that, and that is okay, and I am comfortable with that. But let me pull this up. Yeah, I don't think this is my color, and that's okay. Thinking about what colors work for me and what colors don't is not something I really did at all before this year. I just, like, if I liked a color, I would wear it, and that was fine. It wasn't a problem. But I just don't feel great when I wear this. I don't think it looks great on me. So, and that's okay. And I'm okay with it. But the process of knitting it was great, fine. I think the neckline construction is really unique and fun. Let me look at how long it took me to knit. I cast this on June 13th and bound off July 25th. So it did take me a minute. I know I was working on other stuff during that time, so it wasn't all on that. But sorry, I'm trying to get my screen all. I think my gauge was off because I also ended up with more positive ease than I was expecting, and the bottom edging kind of like is a little bit wide. Like, it's kind of not like gapey, but I'm wondering if I should have bound off tighter, if that would have helped a little bit. But I also don't know that the shape is great for me. I knit the size 2, And I don't remember if my gauge was off. I think it was maybe a little bit. And the yarn I used is Ovis Etc. Aimée, which is their fingering weight base. This is yarn I got from La Mercerie, the yarn store that I work at, and the colorway I believe is Clay. And I really do love this color, but again, I'm just not sure that I am in love with it on me. But I really do love the color. And yeah, the Ovis Etc. is a really fun combination of wool, ramie, and silk, which ramie is a plant fiber. I think Norman wants to come visit. Maybe not. You're going to come up here? No. So like the yarn was like a new type of fiber I'd never worked with before, which was really fun. It being fingering weight and there were like so many stitches, I think it did start to like hurt my hands a little bit, and like toward the end it felt like a lot of a slog. And this top had almost the same amount of like almost as much yardage as many sweaters I've knit. Like I think it had more, this was more yardage than like the September sweater, the first one that I showed you all. It was almost 1,000 yards for this. So it was definitely a labor of love. And, oh, Norman, you want to come up on this side? He's unhappy with the side of the couch that I offered him. He wants to come up on the other side. Come here. Come on. Are you coming? Come here. No, he's just sitting and looking at me. Okay, I'm going to keep going, and if he wants to come, then he will. So, come on. Come on. Is the table in the way? Is that what you're unhappy about? Come here. You're looking at me. Do you want me to bring you? Oh my goodness. Thank you. I didn't mean for this to be kiss time. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, I have to keep talking about my sweaters. Why don't you sit here? Great. Good idea. Okay, I don't think there's anything else I wanted to say about this. I think the needle was, yeah, it looks like it was a US 2. So, this is wild. This one was a little bit of a slog. But that is okay. Next up, I was referencing this earlier. This is my stripeless slanty stripes. So this is the same pattern as this one. So that is slanty stripes, which is my own design, but this one I did in just a solid color. The color is Ritual Dyes Amber Resin. I think the name of the base is Maiden. And I knit this along with my friends before we went to Rhinebeck. We decided to do a couple of matching knits for when we went to Rhinebeck. So rather than all of us knitting the same pattern, we all picked the same yarn and like the same color, and then we knit different patterns using that yarn. So we did both a t-shirt or a tank top and a full sleeve sweater. And this was my tank that we did. So I really liked the shape and wanted like a pretty quick and basic tank. So I decided just to do slanty stripes but without the stripes. So this is the size 1, and it has definitely less ease on me than the size 2. This one is closer to like 1 to 2 inches of positive ease, I believe. So I can show you all what that looks like. And some people who actually tested this or have knit it since prefer this kind of fit. They prefer a little bit of a closer fit, and I think that is great and makes total sense if that's something that you like more. And I also really like this fit as well. So yeah, the only thing that I don't love about this, which you all may have already noticed, is that there was some pooling. I actually had one skein of this yarn already, and then my friends all ordered yarn from the dyer, and they all got like their yarn at the same time, and I had one skein that I had got at a different time, and the dye lots were just slightly different, and so it resulted in I ended up using, my one skein was not quite enough, so I had to use some of the yarn that my friends had ordered that like they had left over, and so there's a little bit of kind of like striping because the like old skein I had and the new skein were just like pretty different, and so it resulted in this wavy stripy look. So to be honest with you, I don't love the pooling, and it really does bother me when I wear it. It's okay, but I don't reach for this very often. I think because I don't love the pooling. I wish that I had just ordered all new yarn and had all one dye lot. I did alternate skeins. That's actually why it has the striping effect, because I alternated skeins, but I don't know. So maybe, I don't know, maybe this is a good one for me to potentially over dye. I don't know if that's a wild idea, but I could over dye this so that it's all kind of one color, and maybe I would want to wear it more. So maybe I'll think about that a little bit, but yeah. Otherwise, I really like it. I think I said the yarn, the pattern, the size, and yeah, that's all I have on that one. Okay, just a couple left. I have, I think I skipped one. And I didn't say when I knit this. I cast this on I cast this on August 3rd, and I finished it September 23rd. So I guess it took me a while. I feel like I was working on other stuff. I feel like this was actually the primary time when I was working on my dad's sweater, which took a lot of time and effort. So if I was working on those at the same time, that makes sense why this one may have taken a while. But let me go ahead and talk about that one now, my dad's sweater. And I'm a little chilly, so I'm going to put my original sweater back on while I talk about this because I don't want to be too cold. So for my dad's, I call this one my dad's sweater. And by that, I do not mean my grandpa's sweater, but I mean my dad's sweater for my dad. And I knit this one also out of La Bien Aimée Corrie worsted. Unfortunately, I do not have it here physically with me. It is with my dad, because I knit it for my dad, and I gave it to him. But I use La Bien Aimée Corrie worsted. I use the colorway Payne's Gray, which is a really dark bluish gray. And I actually knit this exactly in 1 month, which I'm very impressed with myself for. I cast on August 19th, and I bound off on September 19th. So 1 month I knit this sweater. I knit the broad shoulder size 4. And I don't remember how much ease that gave him. I think that gave him like 8 inches maybe of positive ease. I will put pictures up of my dad wearing the sweater and us together wearing our dad's sweaters because it's like one of my most favorite things. But yeah, I don't know what else to say about that. It took a while because I always forget that like I like a cropped sweater, but men tend to not. Men tend to like long sweaters, so I forget how much longer it takes to knit like all the length. And the dad sweater also has really nice large sleeves, so that also made it take a while, but I was able to finish it. This one was like a really emotional knit for me because this was only the second sweater I have ever knit for someone other than myself, and it felt really special to me. It felt really emotional. I really enjoyed working on this for my dad, and I'm really looking forward to working on dad sweaters for the rest of my family as well, because it makes me feel, I don't know, like I know a lot of people have different feelings about gift knitting and like knitting for other people, and it's personally something that I really enjoy doing, especially if it's someone I really care about and that I know will appreciate the gift. And I feel really fortunate that I have a great family, that take care of their knits really well, and I think really appreciate them. And so when I'm like knitting something for someone else, it makes me feel really full. It makes me feel a lot of love and like closeness to that person as well, because I'm putting like stitch after stitch after stitch, like all of this time and love and energy into this thing. And I'm putting this like care into this thing that I want them to have. And yeah, I don't know, that was really, really special for me. And I think that experience is part of what made me really want to knit these sweaters for my mom and my brother and sister as well, is just because I want to be able to put that like love and care into a project for them as well. So I really enjoyed knitting this. I loved getting my inspiration from my dad's woolly sweaters. I loved giving it to him and taking pictures with him and talking to him about it. And yeah, it was one of my favorite knits of 2022 for sure, even though it feels like it took a really long time because I'm used to knitting sweaters that are like super cropped and don't have giant sleeves, but I did really enjoy it. So yeah. What is next? I think I only have 2 left. I'm trying to make sure that my camera isn't shutting off because I can't see myself super well. Okay, 2 left. And I may have to come back and click on and off. Oh, I'm gonna just go ahead and, here we go. Okay, I'm sorry. This is probably really annoying, but I'm doing my best. My next finished garment of 2022 was my Rhinebeck sweater. So this year I went to Rhinebeck for the first time. I'd never been before, and I went with a group of my knitting friends. And like I mentioned before, we planned matching knits. So I showed you all the tank, but we also knit matching sweaters. And this was my Rhinebeck sweater. We decided on ampersand fibers, Jensen DK in the colorway Grisaille 01, which is the in-house yarn for La Mercerie, which is the yarn store that I work at. And I love this color. Grisaille 01 is just, you all know if you have watched me before, I love a basic light gray, like a cool gray. Love. Dad's sweater is in a nice cool gray. The Grisaille 01 is a really lovely cool gray as well. And then each of my friends knit a different sweater, a different pattern. Some of us had cable, some of us had lace, some of us had just like basic stockinette cardigan. One of my friends actually knit a dad's sweater as her Rhinebeck sweater as well, and like test knit the pattern, and that was just the best thing, and I love that so much. But I knit the Piazza tee by Sari Nordland. I actually, it is a t-shirt pattern, but I just lengthened the sleeves. I literally did not do any like shaping or anything. I just kept knitting the sleeves until they were the length that I wanted, and then I bound off or like did the ribbing and bound off. So this is my Piazza tee, but it's not a tee. And I sped through this knit. I don't know how I knit it so fast. I have notes here. I cast on September 20th and I bound off on October 8th. So what is that? Like less than, like 2.5 weeks I knit this sweater. Wild to me that I knit it this fast. This is an all over like lace and cable pattern. Like how did I knit this in 2.5 weeks? I don't know. I had tons of knitting I had to get done during this time. I had a lot of knitting deadlines. If you want to hear more about that, you should definitely go watch my podcast during that time. I was knitting my dad's sweater. I had to finish this for Rhinebeck. I had my tank I had to finish for Rhinebeck. I had other design commitments. It was a busy knitting time for me. But through all of that, I just have to say how much I enjoyed this knit. Like this one was really fun to knit. And I think that's part of the reason I was able to knit it so quickly is because I was really enjoying it. And it's not something that was completely mindless because it's not just plain stockinette. Like I did have to follow the charts. I mean, I got in a pretty good rhythm with it so that I wasn't having to check the chart like all the time, constantly. But I mean, it is like, you know, there's a lace and cable chart. So I did have to follow along with that. This was also my first ever baubles. I had never knit baubles before this project, and that I really enjoyed and was really fun. I didn't know if I would love it or not, and I really did like it. And this is my first sweater that was like this cable-y. Like, this is probably the most like intricate sweater I have ever knit, and it was such an enjoyable experience, and I really loved it. So definitely would recommend this pattern. I kind of want to knit just like the tee and not do the full sleeves, because I think I would love that too. I think I already said the yarn, which is Jensen DK, so it was a DK weight sweater, so it also knit up fairly quickly because of that. And then like just nice moss stitch on the sides and under the arms. It is a top-down construction, but not a raglan. It's more like a set-in sleeve, so actually really similar sleeve and shoulder construction to the dad sweater that I wrote. It is, you start on the back and you knit like the back, like at the top of the back, you knit down to the underarm, and then you do the front, left and right front, join them under the neck, and then do the front and join under the arm, and then you do the rest of the body in the round. And then you pick up around the armholes for the sleeves. You do a little bit of short rows on the top for the sleeve cap, and then knit the sleeves. And that's it. And let me show you all how it fits. I feel like it fits me pretty well. I was wearing this at work a few days ago and was really enjoying the fit of it. I think the sleeves may be a touch short, and that may be mostly because I was like, I need to be done with this. Like, I bound this off the day before I left on my flight to Rhinebeck. So the sleeves are maybe like a touch too short, like a centimeter at most. But the length is really nice, and I really like it. I don't know. Also another one that when I wear it, I normally like tuck in the front, and I think it works really well for that. This like diamond design with the baubles and the lace is beautiful, like stunning. I love it. And yeah, I just really like this sweater. I think it's a good color for me. I really like it. So that was a really great knit. Sorry, I'm putting my blanket back on my lap. It's a little chilly. And I finished that one in October, just before Rhinebeck. And then my last finished garment, I have some other in progress, which I may finish before the end of the year. But my last one I have already finished is my Luna tee. So this is a project that I knit along with my friend Maya, and she decided she wanted to knit this in Durare Natura Albertine, which is a fingering weight wool and silk blend that we carry at La Mercerie, the yarn store that I work at. I feel like I say that every time, so you probably already know that. But it is a nice, just like 2x2 broken rib pattern with a raglan and a mock neck. And when she said she was going to knit it, I was like, I also really want to knit this. We've been talking about it before the pattern even came out, and then the pattern came out, and I was like, okay, we have to knit this. Like, definitely got to make this. So I cast this on, actually, right after I bound off this sweater. I cast this one on and knit it, like, on the flight to Boston, like, over for our Rhinebeck trip, and also just, like, throughout that trip. And then I finished it, I think, not too long after that. I need to pull up my Ravelry page here. I cast on October 9th, and I bound off October 30th, so I finished it in pretty quick, like, just, I guess that's what, 3 weeks? Yeah, like 21 days. And it was also a really enjoyable knit. I feel like it was pretty quick. I will try it on for you all. I always have trouble remembering which side is the front. There are short rows, but they're underneath the arms. Okay, I think this is the front. And it's hard for me to tell which side is the front. And I knit, I don't have here what size I knit. I should have put that. I think I knit the size 2. And here it is. I need to look at myself. This is a pattern by, oh, I didn't say this for the last one. How many of these have I missed this on? The Piazza Tee is a pattern by Sari Nordland. This is a pattern by Charissa Lamb, or CL Knits on Instagram. And this is how it fits. I think it's a really great piece for layering. I love to wear it underneath like a jacket, I have these like corduroy, they're like shackets that I really love to wear it with. But I actually wore it underneath one of my other sweaters the other day. And the only thing is I used almost exactly 3 balls of yarn of the Albertine, but the sleeves are a little shorter than I was expecting. I actually followed them to pattern, and I would have expected, based on her photos, for the sleeves to be a little bit longer, but this is where they ended. This was it. So that's okay. I'm not unhappy with it, but and I didn't want to get another ball of yarn and lengthen it. I was like, I did it to pattern. This is good. Like, I'll call it here. But I could have done that if I wanted to, but I didn't. So that's the only thing about this. But otherwise, I really think the fit is great. I think like it's a good fit around like the bust and like under bust. I think the color is really beautiful. I think this color is called Orgeat. And I was considering knitting this in like a rusty red color, but then I decided to do this color, and I'm really glad I did. I think this was the right choice. And that's pretty much it, I guess, about this one. And that is my last one. That's the last finished garment that I have. The other one I will show you at sneak peek of. Actually, I think I'm going to get cut off, so let me restart this. Okay, well, let me put back on my other sweater so I have full sleeves. I will show you all. Oh, yeah, I guess first I have like just a few things left. First, I'll show you all the sweater that I guess technically I'm working on 2 sweaters right now, but because I just cast on a new one. I cast on a dad sweater from my mom last night, but I'm also working on a sweater with my Advent yarn as I open it. So this year I got the Stress Knits Advent, and it's stunning, and I'm obsessed with it. I love it so much, but I am knitting a Stripes by Andrea Mowry, and my goal, like my plan, is to be done with this by the end of this year, because I'm knitting it along like as I go. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to finish it by the end of the year. I am a couple of days behind, so I still have 2 more stripes that I need to put in. Hopefully I'll be able to do that today. But the yarn again is the 2022 Stress Knits Winter Countdown, Holiday Countdown, and I did do this the edging here that I did for the collar is a Woolberry Fiber Co. In her Berry Natural Swan Link colorway. And I'll do that for the ribbing on the bottom of the sleeves and also on the bottom of the body. But I love this sweater, and I'm hoping that it will be my final garment of 2022. So wanted to show you all that as well. And now, the most fun part, I have picked a couple of sweater superlatives to share with you all. So I had 3 categories that I decided I wanted to do for sweater superlatives. My most worn sweater that I knit this year, my favorite to knit, so the one I enjoyed knitting the most, and the one I'm most likely to knit again. And now that I have said that, I think it would be fun if you all guessed for each of these, because I feel like I already kind of talked about it when I went through the sweaters. But if you want to, you can guess. You can even leave a comment and guess if you want to, or you can just guess in your mind. But let's go for it. So my most worn sweater of 2022 was definitely my Birch. Birch sweater. I wore this one a ton. I also, since I finished it earlier in the year, I think that made it so that I was able to wear it more. My dad's sweater is probably second place, and I didn't finish that one until much later in the year, so I didn't have as much time to wear it, but I do wear that one a ton as well. But Birch I wear all the time. This is the sweater that I'm always grabbing, that I take with me when I travel. I love the way that it fits. I love everything about it. I'll say very quickly here again, this is a pattern by Andrea Mowry, and I used Autumn and Indigo Classic Sport in the colorway Lomah. This color is everything to me. The fit, the feel, everything. I feel like I can wear it with like every outfit. This was definitely my most worn sweater of 2022. Okay, my favorite to knit. So this is not necessarily like my favorite sweater, but the one that I enjoyed knitting the most is my Piazza by Sari Nordland. This one I knit up so quickly. I had so much like really good knitting mojo and energy with it. I know I did have a deadline as well, so maybe that factored into it, but it was my first time doing like this much cables and lace and baubles, and I just had so much fun knitting it. I think that the pattern was really engaging, but not too crazy that like I had to like look at every single stitch on the chart, every single row. Like there was enough that was intuitive after a while that I got into a really good rhythm with it, but it was still really fun and engaging. The yarn I used was Ampersand Fibers Jensen DK, and that was a dream to work with. It's a 100% Corrie wool. It felt really good. I loved knitting this. This project was just really, really fun for me. So this I think was my most fun to knit. I will say also second place for that is probably Dad's sweater as well. I really love knitting Dad's sweater too, and also Slanty stripes. I know that's probably, I shouldn't do so much like self-promotion here, but those two were also really fun for me to knit, partially because there is a really fun aspect of like designing the sweater as I go, and like knitting it and discovering the sweater as I'm knitting it is really fun. But Slanty stripes, those stripes were so fun. Like doing the little intarsia stripes was super fun, so that one was also enjoyable to knit. And Dad's sweater I just really enjoyed. I think it has a really good, there's a ton of stockinette, so it's really great to just like not think about, but the construction is really fun and enjoyable as well. So those are my two honorable mentions for favorite to knit. And then would knit again, without a doubt, not even in question, my most likely to knit again is my Dad's sweater. So this one kind of like almost swept the awards because I had it as like a second place or like honorable mention for the other two as well, but I absolutely would and will knit this sweater again. I'm already in the process of knitting my third one. I have also kind of knit four. Like I will continue knitting this sweater, I think, for the rest of my life. I love working on it. I think it's so wearable. It's a perfect basic sweater. I already have so many planned for myself. I have them planned for my family. I will absolutely knit this sweater probably for the rest of my life. I will keep knitting it. I love it. There are other things I knit this year that I will probably knit again, or I guess I shouldn't say probably, that I might knit again. Marble Mount was one that I would consider knitting again just because the circular yoke fit really well. If Stripes by Andrea Mowry goes well, I could see myself knitting that one again with more like Advent yarns. I'm trying to think about what else. I meant Birch was tough. I don't know if I would knit Birch again. If this Birch, like I wear holes into it, I might knit one again because I want to have it. But this one I think was more of a product than a process knit. Like I didn't hate the process, but I'm more happy with the finished object than I am with the process, if that makes sense. So I don't know if I would do that one again. Slanty stripes I've already knit too, and I would probably knit that one again. Yeah, I don't know. Really just Dad's sweater is the one I know for sure I would knit again. So those are my superlatives, and that's pretty much it. That's all I've got. It was a really good year of knitting. When I look at this pile of sweaters next to me, I'm really satisfied. First of all, there's lots of neutrals in here, and that's when you know that it was a good year of knitting. I mean, I do feel good about that. Like, I think I leaned into the things that I would enjoy knitting. I think I leaned into the things that I knew would be wearable for me, that I would love to wear again and again. And while I think there were some missteps, I think actually I could see my progression over the year. Toward the end of the year, I was really only knitting things that I knew I would love, that I would wear a ton. And I'm really happy with that. And I think that that's something I really hope to continue into 2023. I want to keep knitting things that I love knitting and that I love wearing. And I'm really excited for that. So thank you so much for tuning into this. I'm sorry if it was like crazy long and horrible and boring, but that is all the garments I knit this year, and I can't wait to get started for 2023 garments. So thank you so much, and have a great holiday season, and I'll see you back here for goals and sweater quantities and all that fun stuff to get started in January. Bye.